static in your ear?
I've done a lot of I've had one fight where when I fought Christine, and it was just a really bad night for me. But when I fought Christine, it was probably the biggest venue I've ever fought in, way less people than Sturgis, and I spent a lot of time this fight mentally preparing myself for it because I knew that it was going to be a huge crowd. I knew it was going to be intense. So I just kept going back to that moment and thinking like how I felt then, and I was like, okay, like you've already been there before, and it's just a moment in time, and it's a 10-minute fight. And I got to stand on the stage where you before you walk out, and you could see the entire crowd and you can see all the people, and I was so pumped, like, to see everyone so excited, and I could see people looking at me, seeing that I was next, and like that they were so excited, and it just really hyped me up. Like, that was one of the best feelings ever. And a lot of people questioned like, "Oh, what was it like fighting outside?" I didn't even notice I was fighting outside, but the energy when I walked out, and the people, and like all of the people were so nice, and after the fight, like, taking pictures and everything like that was awesome. It was one of the best moments of my fight career. It was really cool.
Yeah, there was an interesting picture. I'm not sure who took it. I think BKFC posted it, but there was a picture after the fight was over. Both you and Britt were like kind of like hanging on the ropes, facing the crowd, and
Yeah.
like it was like I heard the crowd reaction from that, but it was super cool. It was basically saying like, "Hey, we came, we conquered, we put on a great show for you guys," and like I think that moment is when like we heard a really huge response and a really huge applause from the audience, pretty much being grateful for putting on a great performance. Honestly, like it was maybe, and this is not a knock on any other female fighter in BKFC, but I thought it was maybe the greatest performance, in-ring performance for a BKFC women's fight that I've ever seen. I thought it was fantastic, and it's going to go down in history for sure. um
I agree.
you I what How couldn't you, um what what do you think you are like? Are there going to be any specific areas that you're going to be focused on in training after the fight? Like some things you learned about yourself. I know you kind of mentioned it earlier in this chat, but like I know, are there anything that you want to polish up a little bit more on? I know you got speed. Like, do you want to start to maybe focus on getting a little bit more, power in them punches, or like walk me through like what you're going to be doing next to kind of give us a better version of Taylor Starling in your next fight.
Yeah, I can see it now when when I'm sparring and training, like when I have those times to spar and really practice like my ring control and like standing in the middle. That's like one thing that's just like I can't wait until my face is just fully healed so I can spar. Cuz I'm like ready
There
to
you go.
just practice like standing in the middle and no one taking that like position from me. And then yeah, conditioning, like, I really my conditioning was perfect this camp, and I put on a lot. Like, I had so much more power than I've ever had in my entire career. I'm the strongest I've ever been, and just to really focus on that some more and like add some more to it is going to be awesome. And I don't think that there's anybody in the 115-pound division besides Britain that can stand there in front of me and take that. Like, I was hitting her so hard. Like, I really like really kudos to her, because I'm like, what does this girl do, or who has she been hit by that, like, that she did not go down? Because I'm telling you, I hit her so hard. There's nobody, no other girl in the division is going to be able to take that power, and it's only
Yeah,
going to get better.
she for sure is really scrappy, and that's one of the things, a testament to her, because she could definitely take a punch and she could give a punch.
Yeah.
Definitely a tough chick. Let me ask you this: who, and you kind of like mentioned earlier in this chat again, and you mentioned that you want to get Brit again. But is there anybody else you want to get your hands on? Whether they're in BKFC or outside of BKFC, or let me know, or let us know, like what's in store for your future for Taylor Starling.
Oh man, I of course in the perfect world would love to rematch with Britain right away. Because I am salty. Like, I am so salty about this fight, and after I've watched, like, the day I've only watched it back once, and watching it back pissed me off. I was like really grumpy about it for the rest of the day. Um so I would realistically love to rematch Britain right away, and I don't see why we couldn't. I do know that Bare Knuckle's not too big of a fan of rematches until I fight a couple more times. But to be honest, there's only maybe one girl in the division worthy of fighting me. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. I just mean that, like, Jamie Hinshaw is she's very tough. And there's Britain Hart. Other than that, I don't see anybody else worthy. I mean, they just had Ty Emery win in Japan, and I'm not knocking Ty Emery, but I just don't think I don't think she's on the same caliber as Britain. I don't think she's on the same caliber as me. I think she's right underneath it. And Jamie Hinshaw's she's tough as shit. But other than that, the rest of the 115-pound division is pretty inexperienced, and I don't mean it again in a mean way, but there's so many, like, I'm still figuring out levels, and there's a lot of levels to this stuff. And I don't want to fight anybody that's just a easy win. I don't want someone that, when it gets announced that I'm fighting them, that they people are rolling their eyes because they think I'm getting handed something. I want to fight people that are worthy opponents, and whatever comes, I really, really, really hope it's Britain again. But if not, I'll knock them out until I get it back.
Sure. I mean, what else can you do? You know, I mean, do your job, and and these things will come to you. Do you think that maybe Britt can get Jamie too, or you think she's got some other plans?
I don't know what Britain's thinking. I mean, I would think Britain would want me again too. I don't think Britain cares. Now Britain's in the position now at the point where we all got to go to her. So Britain kind of
Hmm.
can sit back and take as much time as she wants in between. She can wait. She can kind of, just we all got to come to her. We got to get to Britain and make it happen ourselves. And Jamie, I do think needs a fight back. I think took it's probably been 2 years that she's been out now. Maybe just get like a brush up fight and then either come to me or Britain, and we'll see. But Britain's the
Yeah,
woman that we all got to go to her.
we all gotta go. Yep. It's truly exciting the way how everything's gonna unfold. I mean, the future is so bright with BKFC, and a lot of eyes went to the sport, and it's more growing eyes going to the sport, and girls that are in traditional boxing, they're not getting the opportunities that they think they can get or they're not getting. Maybe make that transition over to BKFC, and it it pumps up the roster in the 115 and the 125 and the 135. Like Christine Feria is like running out of opponents too. You know, I mean, she went through
Yeah,
everybody. Like I think like what's next? Like probably get her set up with guys, right? I mean, just like
yeah.
what else can she do? So, but I know like you're a fighter. You're also a trainer. You're also a full time mom. Like how do you find the time to balance all that stuff? You know, in your 6 to 8 week fight camp leading up to that fight.
A lot of crying in the shower. No, I'm very, very schedule oriented. Like I have my days planned out. Like I know what I'm gonna do, when I'm gonna do it, and where there's a will, there's a way is my big life motto. I always am like, if I want to do it, I can. I just have to make it happen. And it takes a lot of juggling, and like I said, a lot of cries in the shower and mental breakdowns in between. But I want to do it, and I just make it happen. I try to allot my time accordingly to everybody, and sometimes some days it doesn't work out. Some days it's hard. Some days your schedule's going perfect and one of the kids throws up at school and you got to go pick them up and everything gets shuffled in the mix, and it's it's hard, but it's worth it. And it's really cool. Like I said, like a lot of people don't realize how much I do. I can sit and tell you guys until I'm blue in the face, but I really do so many things every single day to make sure everybody around me is happy, to make sure that I'm getting done what I need to get done. And it's just because I want to. Like I could easily choose something else and uh go get a sit down desk job and you know not punch people in the face for money, but chose this life, and it's exciting, and it's fun. It's a fun story to tell.
For sure, for sure. Um, Can you share with us any cool or fun behind the scenes moments or experiences from fight week or even the event itself? Where was there
Oh
anything
man.
cool that happened to you?
I'm trying to think. Like meeting Conor McGregor was very interesting. But what a very interesting human being he was. I went and saw Deadpool with my boyfriend. That was awesome. Me and my boyfriend went, and I was like, I got to get out of this hotel room. I need to do something. And we went and we saw Deadpool, and it was such a good movie and was so good. And To be honest, I was, like, thinking about Deadpool a bunch right before I fought, so it's funny. I always find something like a movie or, like, a scene, and I'm like, "Alright, I gotta keep that in mind when I'm fighting," and so that was cool, and, just being in South Dakota, I have a very unconventional fight week. I try to do everything as much as possible to not think about fighting. Like, if any of you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen like I love playing games and like the Bop It. I was playing the Bop It so
I
much
seen
before
that.
I fought.
I seen that. That was
So I
crazy.
do really weird things like that. Try to take my mind
Yeah.
off of it.
Sure, sure, sure. So as you know, like the internet is full of keyboard warriors. I wanted to get your advice on something.